Well, good morning, guys. Hope everyone's week is going well. Just getting a little coffee via Totoro in. And this morning I did my skincare routine applying a good several layers of my Ulta MD UV Clear Broad Spectrum SPF 46 sunscreen. I'm really enjoying this. It goes on swimmingly. I apply to all surfaces of my face, my ears, sides of my neck, the back of my neck, tops of my hands, and areas on the chest exposed to sunlight. And I stopped there because in today's video, you all have asked me if I can review some tinted sunscreens for you guys, some like BB creams, CC creams. Depending on how long you've been watching my channel, you may have recalled that some time ago I used to use the Ulta MD UV mineral sunscreen that has tint in it, and I also used the It Cosmetics CC cream at one point as well, both of which are, tinted sunscreens with an SPF of, I think the Ulta has an SPF in the 40s, I want to say, and the It Cosmetics one that I was using, I think, was like 35, I can't recall. But regardless, the reason that I have used those in the past is to kind of mask hyperpigmentation on the apples of my cheeks. I use them on top of sunscreens, and I use them for the reason that in the inactive ingredients on the label, you'll notice they contain an inactive ingredient called iron oxide. We now know that iron oxides in tinted sunscreens can help protect against some of the broader wavelengths of light that contribute to dark spots, melasma, and post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So I'm rather fond of discussing tinted sunscreens on here with you guys because I feel that they have a role in skincare in that not only can they help camouflage some cosmetic things that you may be unhappy with, but they can also protect areas of the skin that may be healing and kind of very susceptible to the sun and subsequent development of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. And so today I'm going to be reviewing for you guys a tinted sunscreen by Colorescience. It's their Total Eye 3-in-1 Renewal Broad Spectrum SPF sunscreen, SPF 35. This is an exclusive mineral sunscreen containing zinc or titanium dioxide. But this one is designed in the packaging of this facilitates easy application kind of around the eyes. And since my personal preference in using tinted sunscreens, not my base layer sunscreen, but the tinted sunscreen, is to use it around my eyes. The packaging on this, kind of meets my needs a little bit. Okay, so we'll talk about that one. And then we'll also compare it to the Cetaphil Redness Relieving Daily Facial Moisturizer. I purchased this at Walgreens recently. You can get it, it ranges in price from anywhere from like $11.63 at Target. I think it's, upwards of $14 in some places. This too is a tinted, exclusively mineral sunscreen that contains zinc, titanium dioxide, as well as iron oxides for protection against that element of visible light that can drive post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. All right, so we're going to compare the two. This product is $69 for the 7 mLs or 0.23 ounces versus this product you get the entire ounce or 1.7 ounces or 50 mLs for roughly anywhere from $12 to $14 depending on where you buy it, okay? If you're interested in the Colorescience product, because many of you have asked me to review it, I have a code down below wherein if you purchase it, you can also get the mascara along with it for free, and I will try the mascara out for you guys today as well and show you how that works. But long story short, one quick point I wanted to make in comparing the two before I put them on my face, you might notice that the Colorescience Total Eye is SPF 35, whereas the Cetaphil one that I'm comparing it to is SPF 20, and you might ask, well, what is the difference there, and is 20 not as good as 35? Well, here's the deal. So SPF is a measure of a sunscreen's ability to protect us from UVB, the rays of light that burn our skin. It's determined by applying 2 milligrams per centimeter square of sunscreen, all right? And we know that, let's just say a ballpark estimate here, an SPF of 15 will block 93% of UVB coming from the sun to your skin, and an SPF of 30 will block roughly 97%. SPF of 50 will block 98%, and anything higher than SPF is just you know, fractions of a sesame seed. It's insignificant, okay? And therefore, it is recommended that you choose a sunscreen or sun protection in the range of 30 to 50. Higher than 50, you're just spinning your wheels, and anything less than 30, is that not as good? Well, here's the deal. What we know is, as I said, sunscreen is tested and the SPF is determined by using 2 milligrams per centimeter square. But in reality, nobody's applying that much. You generally apply about a third of what is actually used to determine the SPF. So you're getting a much lower SPF. So in other words, you know, I'm probably, even myself, when I try this out for you guys, I'm not going to apply it at that concentration. All right, I've already got a good layer. That's why I always have a good layer of sunscreen on, a clear, you know, just a non-tinted sunscreen. Putting a tinted sunscreen on to get to the SPF on the packaging, that's really layering it on thick, okay? And I mean, you're probably going to use at least 2/3 of this little bottle right here to actually get it to that. All right, so if you applied it, you know, roughly at a third of the targeted amount, you'd get somewhere in the ballpark of an SPF of 10 or 15, which is decent, okay? Whereas the Cetaphil one, starting at 20, you know, you're going to get lower into the 5s and 8s. So in that sense, you know, 35 is a better choice. All right, but let's just see how the two compare. All right, show you guys the pump thing here. You know, it's got this little tip where the sunscreen comes out. I've already tried it, disclaimer. I wanted to make sure I knew how it worked before I came on here and showed you guys. I've used it a few times, and long story short, I like it. Okay, it's basically just a pump, and it comes out this little hole into the tip. And this is kind of nice in a sense in that you don't actually have to touch your face with your finger. So if you're reapplying in the car, which you guys know I do a fair amount, you know, you can just not have to touch your face. There. So goes on really well, easy to apply. I'm just doing it under the eyes here for just to demonstrate how it works for you guys. And you know, you'd want to reapply this throughout the day, at least 2 to 3 times a day. Their instructions say to put it on twice, but 2 to 3 times a day for reapplication is prudent. And you'd also want to be reapplying your base layer sunscreen. So these two I've tried together, and they do go one on top of the other really, really nicely, and I've been enjoying them, okay? And it's, you know, it blends in to the skin pretty nicely. It gives pretty good coverage. I have this like prominent vein here that I was born with that this covers up pretty well as well. So there's that, and let's go ahead and see how Cetaphil compares on the other side, okay? We have Cetaphil here. And I'm just going to use my finger. You can see here's the color. It's a little less peachy. Both of these products are really moisturizing, and they're not greasy or heavy. I like that. Neither has added fragrance. The Colorescience product has some plant kind of humectants added to it to make it moisturizing. It also has some sea vegetable humectants like algin extract that, you know, are humectants. You guys see me eat sea vegetables, so you know how slippery they are. So they're oftentimes added to products to give them kind of moisturizing properties. The Cetaphil one, though, also has licorice root extract in it, or glycyrrhizate, which can inhibit some of the biology of how pigment cells transfer pigment around and help with post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. And the Cetaphil one also has a little bit of caffeine in it, which, if you'll recall back to my how to get rid of bags under the eyes video, I talked about using caffeine under the eyes as an ingredient, that it can kind of constrict the blood vessels transiently, potentially, but hard to say for sure. So that's kind of a gimmicky ingredient in this as well. The Cetaphil product has chromium oxide in it, which is green, okay? And we know that green is a good pigment to add to tinted sunscreens, tinted foundations, and that it masks redness very nicely. So if you're somebody who has rosacea, redness, you know, redness, post-inflammatory erythema from healing acne, I think you will like this one a lot, and you'll get a little bit of extra coverage with kind of hidden green pigment in there. But you can see how the two compare under my eye here. They go on really nicely. My problem with both of them, however, is they're Dray colored, okay? Like these are the only pigments that colors that they come in, spectrums that they come in. But let's just try out the mascara, okay? And disclaimer, I've also tried the mascara a few times, the Colorescience mascara. This retails for $24, but you know, again, if you use the code down below, they will give it to you for free with purchase of the sunscreen. I've used this a few times because you can't judge a mascara on the first swipe. You guys know that, right? I mean, I'm not a makeup person, but even I know that. Here's what it looks like. I mean, it's just a plain black mascara, but it's pretty nice. It's really nice, but this is my ride or die Maybelline Colossal Mascara. We'll just use it on the other side. I love this mascara and have always used it. All right, you can see the comparison. Left is Maybelline in the mascara and Cetaphil in the tinted sunscreen. And on the right you have the Colorescience mascara and 3-in-1 eye cream with SPF 35. So you guys can be the judge, but I think they look pretty similar. And I like both of them. As far as the coverage that both afford, I think they're pretty similar. I mean, they cover little dark spots and things like that pretty well. I would say that the Colorescience is maybe a little bit thicker and a little bit more covering than the Cetaphil one. The Colorescience one is very similar, just in my experience with these, to the IT Cosmetics CC cream as far as what I would describe as the coverage and its ability to cover things up. Just in comparing these two products together, you know, I wish that the Colorescience one was not $69, but I really believe that what you are paying for here is the extra work that they put in designing the applicator here, as well as maybe some of the pigments that they put in here to make it a little bit more to give it a little bit more coverage, okay? I think this does a slightly better job covering things up for cosmetic purposes than the Cetaphil. The Cetaphil one is a little bit more, slightly more on the sheer side than the Colorescience one. This is more of, this is more the consistency of a makeup, excuse me. Purely from a cosmetic perspective, if you're looking to cover something up, I think you'll find that this works better, okay? And I think that's what you're paying for here in the uptick on the price. But the Cetaphil one I really like a lot. I like that it has the licorice root extract in it. I think that's definitely brightening. I really love the way this goes on. Because this is a little bit more sheer, it's easier to put on and doesn't, you know, you don't have to blend it as much. Whereas this, because this has pretty good coverage, you kind of have to blend it in a little bit more, which is where the little tip guy comes in handy, especially for me as somebody who has like no makeup applicators whatsoever. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do here? So that helped me out a lot. But you know, the Cetaphil one goes on really nicely as far as just touching up throughout the day, okay? But the last point that I'll make with regards to tinted sunscreens, tinted eye creams, BB creams, CC creams, whatever they may be that you're choosing to use, consider them an additional weapon in your arsenal against sun damage, photo aging, hyperpigmentation, okay? And these guys bring into the fleet the added assault of having the iron oxide in there, which can protect you from some of those wavelengths of visible light that drive hyperpigmentation. Okay, so consider them as that. All right, but don't rely exclusively on your tinted sunscreens, on your tinted on your SPF containing mineral makeups. Don't rely on that alone as your sunscreen, because nobody is applying 2 milligrams per centimeter square of their makeup to their entire face, neck, ears, back of the neck, hands, you name it. People just don't apply makeup that way, or at least I don't think. I mean, maybe some people do, but that's really why you need a broad spectrum base layer sunscreen. And these are just like icing on the cupcake, but really tasty icing. Okay, good to have on there, particularly if you're somebody with post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So yeah, and then again, also wear your broad brimmed hat, wear your sunglasses. Really bring in a full defense against the offensive UV rays that are aging and raging. And as far as the mascara, it was fun to compare and contrast. You know, you can make an informed decision for yourself. Like, if you want an eyelash that looks like that, go with this. If you want one that looks like this, go with that. Whew. Well, anyways, guys, comment below. Left eye, right eye? Let me know what you think. I'm happy with the way both sides of my face look, so I am gonna skip on out of here for my day, finish my coffee, but I hope this video was helpful to you guys in reviewing the ingredients that are important in selecting a tinted sunscreen, what they do. Sun protection around the eyes is imperative, and for many people that tends to be an area where there is a lot of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, so it's rational to target that area with a tinted sunscreen, as I showed you guys in today's video. So hopefully, like I said, it was helpful. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.